Hi, my name is Tien and we are presenting as Group 11. With the increasing number of people infected by COVID-19, the Malaysian government implemented the Movement Control Order MCO on 18 March 2020. During the lockdown period, people are forced to have social isolation. Therefore, to identify the consequences of having social isolation, our group has done the research on this topic. COVID-19 keeps each other at arm's length. Our group has set up a Google form to conduct a quantitative survey. The questionnaire is spread to our friends, including friends who are studying in UDP and at other universities. Therefore, the survey will mainly be focused on Perak and KL. The questionnaire is also spread to the public through social platforms to get responses from different states and age groups. A total of 120 respondents who are living in Malaysia have answered the survey form. Among the 120 respondents, there are 60 workers and 60 students answering the surveys. The survey consists of 4 sections, which include 16 questions. The questionnaire of Section 1 is to identify the occupation of the respondents. Section 2 is about the identification of social communication skills among students, which consists of 4 questions. Section 3 is about the relationship with colleagues, which consists of 4 questions. And lastly, Section 4 is about relationship between family members, which consists of 7 questions. Now I would like to pass the floor to our group leader, Ong.
Okay, thank you, Heng. First of all, let me introduce myself. I'm Ong Jia Sheng from Electrical and Electronics Department. Now, I will explain the changes in social relationship among family members during the MCO period. From both the pie charts, we can know that the difference of time spent with family before and during the MCO period. Before MCO, 76.6% of the respondents are only spending less than 3 hours with their family, whereas another 21.7% of the respondents are spending more than 3 hours with their family members. However, during MCO, the time spent increases drastically. It is found that most of the respondents spending more than 3 hours with their family. As for this data, 70% of the respondents agree that MCO helps to improve relationships with their family. However, there are 30% of the respondents disagree that MCO will help to improve the relationship between their family members. From the feedback, we can know that the respondents who disagree say that more time staying at home with family members means there are more quarrels and arguments. The reason given from students is parents do not understand that they are having online classes which require some space and time. Then, from the reason given from the employees that they are having financial problem and they could not work. So it is understandable since they are facing financial problem and their family does not have any money to continue the living. But on the other side, there are also respondents who agree the statement that during MCO, they could use the chances to communicate and interact with their family members, and they believe that relationship is being improved. So here is the example of people staying with their family members during MCO. Next, the data of depression has shown that almost half of the respondents are not feeling depressed despite having MCO. However, there is still a quarter of respondents feel depressed during MCO. It is understandable since our survey is involving employees and they are unable to work, so they could not have any money. Therefore, Ministry of Health should look into this matter and help these people to prevent them from making any mistakes which will involve their lives. Now I will pass the stage to Ka Yee.
Thank you, Jia Sheng. Next, we study about how social relationship of employee with their colleague being affected throughout the lockdown period. We asked the respondents several questions. The first question is, have you found any difficulties working on online platform? As you can see the result here, 31.7% of respondents did not find any difficulties working online, but 68.3% of respondents faced difficulties when working on online platform. For those who answer yes, we asked them what is the difficulties. Most of them say that the difficulties that they face is Wi-Fi problem. Poor network connection always ruin the meeting. The next question is, have your employer scolded you because of your colleague fault? The pie chart shows that 63.3% of respondents have experienced being scolded because of their colleague fault when working online, and only 36.7% did not being scolded because of others' fault. This is a strong evidence that relationships between colleagues have been affected during working online. The last question is, do you think that working online during MCO will affect the relationship between colleagues? 66.7% of respondents agree that working online during MCO affect the relationship between colleagues, while 33.3% of them are not. From the data collected, we can see that it is undeniable that work from home brings huge changes to relationship between colleagues. The difficulty that they face when working online caused the misunderstanding between them and affected their social relationship. Next, I will pass to Chiu Shyen.
From students' perspective, they are also affected by this COVID-19 pandemic. They could only study via online platform instead of face-to-face learning. Therefore, they do not have any chances to communicate with people other than family members. The data that we collected from online survey has clearly shown that half of the respondents will only ask 1 to 5 times, and 40% of respondents never ask questions during the class. It can be said that they are shy to ask questions during the lecture sessions even though they do not understand about the topics of the lesson. According to another data, students also admit that the frequency of asking questions during online class is much more lower than that during the physical class. And most of the students prefer to ask questions at physical class instead of online class. From this, the lack of chances to communicate with other people will affect the social communication skills of students. This problem will not only affect their daily life but also hardly to express themselves. For example, when students want to buy groceries from shop, they will be having difficulties to communicate with the cashier due to the lack of chances of communication.
My name is Mohamad Hafiz bin Hassan. Today I'm going to talk about social relationship health, which is now a big issue in our country because we are all forced to stay home as this COVID-19 pandemic outbreak. Okay, I'm from Electrical and Electronic Engineering course. To conclude our report, there are several implications of our study case, such as finding out the situation that individuals are facing through this COVID-19 pandemic outbreak. Besides, we actually to get know the depression that can possibly occur to certain individuals due to this pandemic outbreak, either undergraduates or employees, as they answer our surveys. Okay, on top of that, social communication can be improved between individuals by having a proper management for a smoother flow of work, as all learning activities and works are conducted through an online platform, which makes the communication more complicated than before. We also have determined that these results might be informative to some of the parties, such as the people who are facing difficulties on their social relationship lifestyle. With this information, they will know about the importance of social relationship and will be able to do the right thing in overcoming their problem, and also their own depression and miscommunication between family members and colleagues. Okay, moving on. These results can be also useful to government, as the governments can find many ways to improve the ways of teaching and learning in school. For example, the Ministry of Higher Education can make the current policy which allow the students to have live interactions, such as live presentation on online platform to maintain their social communication skills. On top of that, we also have come to conclusion that some of the employers could take some of this information and find a better way to communicate with their employees. These results can be also considered by the authorities to do some improvement towards our society. For an instance, from the survey, it is known that most of us are having social relationship health, and before the MCO, we find out that most of the individuals are spending their time with the family for less than an hour, but during the MCO, people are spending more than 1 hour with their family. Also, from the survey, it is known that the strength of the Wi-Fi is a major problem in Malaysia. Most of the respondents are complaining about the miscommunication between colleagues due to the strength of Wi-Fi. Therefore, the Ministry of Communication and Multimedia, KKMM, should investigate this problem and take action as soon as possible. Regarding the result of individuals facing depression, although the data is not that many, Ministry of Health should also be focusing at this group since they might simply end up their lives. Ministry of Health can also conduct survey once per month to detect the mental changes within individuals. Overall, all this information is sure to be useful to certain people or to even the ministries, as they can analyze the social relationship data of others during this pandemic outbreak, so they can plan for a better solution for any unwanted future disaster. That's all from me. Thank you for lending your ears.